Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. In this one, I wanted to ask the question, could the New York Jets trade up in the NFL draft? Obviously, we have a plethora of picks, 2 1s, 2 2s, a high 3, 2 4s. By the way, 2 of those first round picks are in the top 10. Absolutely insane stuff here. A lot of draft ammunition. Could the New York Jets, and by the way, we've heard some rumors that Joe Douglas is definitely open to moving throughout the draft, right? Whether it's up or down, we don't know. We did hear that small rumor that Joe Douglas could opt to trade the 10th overall pick. Maybe it's a package deal, who knows? But I wanted to kind of dive into this and explore this question. Now, there's a lot of really solid draft prospects in this class, and you talk to a lot of people, there's really a consensus top 3 as of right now. So the first week of February, it's Aidan Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeaux, and Evan Neal in no specific order, right? We've seen mock drafts with Hutchinson going 1, we've seen mock drafts with Hutchinson falling to the Houston Texans at spot number 3, but it's always those 3 guys being circulated in with different teams here. Now, of course, a lot could change, which leads me into my first point. If the Jets and Joe Douglas want to explore the idea of trading up, I don't think it would come anytime soon. I think you would I think it's the responsible move to wait until after the combine, after pro days, after interviews, private workouts, and that's actually a pretty underrated part of the entire process. So not only is there just a lot of time in between now and the start of the NFL draft, but there's still a lot of things that need to be accomplished. There's still a lot of untapped data, if you will, about these different guys, and hopefully front offices will have their answers by late April. Now, another point that I did want to throw in there is the fact that this draft class isn't really like last year's class, where everybody knew Trevor Lawrence was going number 1 to Jacksonville. Everybody knew the Jets were going to be selecting a quarterback, and it was probably most likely going to be Zach Wilson. Everybody knew San Francisco was going to be going with a quarterback as well, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, or of course Trey Lance. But this class is totally different. I mean, Doug Peterson, brand new head coach in Jacksonville. They have Trevor Lawrence there. They have a massive need at edge rusher. There are 2 really good ones on the board, and then of course you can always use some help protecting Trevor Lawrence, so you have Evan Neal there. Maybe they go with a completely different player like Ike Ekwonu from NC State. The Lions, on the other hand, I feel like they're kind of locked into a pass rusher here. If they don't trade down, I don't see this team reaching on a corner or Kyle Hamilton or something like that. Their offensive line is fine. I mean, you're not going to draft a guy to go play guard at spot number 2. It's just not in the cards. I feel like Detroit is either going to be taking Kayvon or Aidan, whoever falls to them. Possibly, I mean, they possibly could both be there. And then Houston, that's an interesting one because, of course, you can make the argument for all 3 of those top prospects, KT, Hutchinson, or Neal, but they have a lot of needs all over that roster. But the point is, because this draft, as of right now, again, early February, doesn't really have that much clarity to it. We don't have that consensus number 1 overall pick. Lawrence is going first overall. Because we don't have that, the Jets either A, have to be sold on multiple prospects if we do trade up, B, trade up to the first overall pick. That way we actually land our guy here, or C, know with it 100% without a doubt who the teams in front of us would be selecting. Assuming we would move to the 3rd overall pick, if we go up to spot number 2, we would have to know who Jacksonville's going to be picking, because worst case scenario, let's just assume we trade with the Detroit Lions and land that 2nd overall pick. And we have, I don't know, let's just say Kayvon Thibodeaux in mind. He is the guy, we have identified him as the pick for the New York Jets. But then all of a sudden on draft night, the Jacksonville Jaguars keep all of their information close to the vest and they select Thibodeaux. We would almost have to be in a similar position as the Philadelphia Eagles back in, I believe, 2016, when they traded up to land Carson Wentz, or I guess a quarterback. You're moving up to that 2nd overall pick. The talk was all about Carson Wentz versus Jared Goff, who's going to be going first. The idea, right, the assumption was Goff was going to be going number 1, but it wasn't locked in. It wasn't set in stone by any means. And the Eagles definitely did not have that information locked in, right? So the Eagles were 100% comfortable comfortable with either Carson Wentz or Jared Goff. They loved both prospects. They felt comfortable moving forward with either guy at the helm. The Jets, going back to the Jets here, they have to be in a similar spot. Okay, if the Jets trade, let's just say with the Detroit Lions to spot number 2, and we have one guy in mind, Kayvon Thibodeaux, and let's just say, again, because we don't have that draft clarity, he goes number 1 to Jacksonville. Now all of a sudden we gave away a ton of assets to move up from 4 to 2 to land our second best option. Okay, that's not really a position that it's not really the most ideal position. Of course, we would still be walking away with a great prospect, but I think the fact remains the Jets have got to be sold on multiple guys here, unless, of course, they trade up to that first overall pick. Now, this is kind of my take on the situation, what I think I would do. I think it's interesting to kind of picture this Jets team moving up in the draft, and it's definitely something that the team has to be prepared for just in case the opportunity presents itself from one of the teams maybe trying to move down in the draft. But I'm going to say this, I think for me personally, and by the way, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, this is just my personal take, I think it wouldn't be my first choice. I would rather stand pat at spot number 4 and 10 because, I mean, that's a luxury in and of itself. I mean, having a top 5 pick is a luxury, let alone having 2 top 10 picks. That is absolutely nuts. I mean, that is crazy to picture, crazy to think about, boggles my mind. But I don't really feel like the Jets are one player, one prospect away from getting back to the playoffs, to being able to compete on a consistent basis with the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots for the AFC East crown. I mean, we have a lot of holes. The first ones that come to my mind: tight end, offensive line, wide receiver, safety. You can make an argument for corner and running back. I mean, there's a lot of holes on this team. Linebackers, another one. Interior offensive line, tackle. I mean, we have our work cut out for us. Luckily, we have a ton of cap space. We have these multiple draft picks. We have opportunities to add talent to this roster, as we all know. But the thought of giving away multiple draft assets here. Now, hey, look, if the Lions call and they say, hey, we want 1 4th-round pick and you can have 2 and we can slide down to spot number 4, sign me up, I'm all in. But if it requires, future first-round picks or, possibly trading away, one of our star younger players, anything like that, I think I would opt to stay at 4 and 10, keep the 2 2s, keep the high 3, keep the 2 4s, and move forward from there. If anything, if we're going to be trading draft picks away for anything, I think it should be a proven veteran star player, depending on, of course, what draft pick we would elect to trade away. But the bottom line is this. Would I be totally angry, upset, disappointed if news broke tomorrow that the Jets landed the 3rd overall pick, the 2nd overall pick, 1st overall pick? I don't think I would be angry or anything like that. I would definitely be excited because I feel like the Jets have got to have a plan in place in order to do that. And of course, it's solely based off of the trade compensation, what we would give up to land one of those top 3 picks. But now I'm kind of just diving way too far down the rabbit hole here, and it's just all speculation, just a ton of overthinking. But my final point is that it wouldn't be my first choice, and I would rather, if the choice was up to me, I would rather stand pat or trade down with, maybe that 10th overall pick or what have you, rather than packaging multiple picks in a player to move up in the draft. But again, it's not like I would be totally angry or ticked off if we did. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Excited to see where you stand on this. I mean, I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer here. It's really just subjective and how you feel, and I can't wait to check them out. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and as always, go Jets.